when all I feel is disgust. Character sus, a dude I can't trust, cause he not like us. My heart can get black as the moon, black as the melanin in my skin. I'm still healing from wounds, so Lord forgive me if I say that I can't help but choose. Violence on the daily, I'm him, I refuse to lose. So don't make me repeat it again. When I reunite the culture, the vultures are not impressed. Dropping bombs on them like I'm obsessed. Kill them off with no emotion, like I got a hole in my chest. I'm the king and I'm taking the crown back to the west.
Come again, you the king? Nah. You need to turn your sound down. Put a rap on your back. Please. You just snatching crowns now. You know my big bro cold, could've beat your ass around town. But I'm the wolf at the door, so you dealing with me now. Why done came back around? Cause this boy got a loud mouth. He got the bag now, but that's nothing to brag about. Sound blast in the background, in the cut like I cut pounds. You went uptown, I'm from down south. I smell fear like a bloodhound. Why the hell your drawers looking so brown? Put that crown down, I'm liable to crash out. If they don't give me mine, hit you with my streamline. Send my 50 times. The crown ain't yours, but yo, I can't blame you for trying. Big bro showed us the way, and now I'm making sure I'm next in line. Y'all think you're deep. I need the crown like I need to breathe. I need respect, I got people to feed. I get that W by any means. Of course, a king, I do not disagree. But understand I'm out of your league, enough is enough. You think you up next? Please, I roll you up like I'm smoking some trees. Make me too mad and I'm making you bleed. If they try running, I'm breaking their knees. I made them fall like some autumn leaves. I'm not the king yet, but I'm planting the seeds. I mean what I say and I say what I mean. I do not stutter, there's no in between. If I enter the ring, then I'm making a scene. Then I'm making them scream.
If y'all got a few problems, I feel bad for your son. I got 99 problems, but being a bitch ain't one. Rock Nation Empire, blueprint in the vault. Every brick I flip turned to gold, that's all I know.
Whoever putting money on my head, they surviving. You ain't getting rich off me, but homie, you could die trying. I'm the undefeated king of queens, getting straight dubs. My bulletproof vest about to be covered in your blood. If you talk smack, get clapped, diced up and slaughtered. Y'all, you looking kinda pale, need some vitamin water, dog. Heed the prophecy, you don't know what's on the line. Ignoring signs, just summon the destruction of space and time.
Give a damn about your prophecy, you ain't seen what I saw. The Illmatic Oracle, been him since 94. Most critically acclaimed, my style second to none. You talk about kings in the presence of God's son. I hear you prophesize, but do you see the big picture? I pen scrolls and shadows where the street lights flicker. Flow like hieroglyphic scripture, make the weak hearts quiver. Now flow so cold it'll make Lucifer shiver.
Here we go, shaking stadiums, the shady spit this flow. Do they know? If you piss me off, I'll go ballistic, bro. These kings looking like bozos. I'm wondering if I should snatch that gold. Hell no, that's just a joke. What's a king to a rap god, yo? Shady to see to the 8 miles in my jutsu ain't no need for combs. Get too close, I'll lose my shit and carve my name onto your bones. Leos my comatose, believe I'm not here to save souls. I'm going in until I know the prophecy wanna fall as fuck though.
Hello.
I grip the steel barrel, kissing your dome piece down in the pipe like a heavyweight.
Turn it down right quick. Hello, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, it is Sunday. Y'all know what that means. It's time to blast off into space with our favorite space sheriff. It is time once again for the Space Sheriff Gav-sudan, the only show that blasts off into the deep reaches of space and wondering, where the hell is this story even going? I am your host with the most, the mercenary with the kicks from 2286, call sign Henshin, here alongside you on this ride that is Gavan Infinity. I'm trying to just understand this stuff just as much as you guys. I'm trying to understand where we're going with all of this. Because as it stands right now, the story beats are kind of weird. They're kind of in and out. We're not truly understanding of where they're going. And we're now learning that we don't have a lot of time to tell the story. So, for those of y'all who don't know, apparently it's been confirmed that Gavan is only doing like a half-season run. They're only doing like 25, 26 episodes, as opposed to a regular Toku season, which goes about 48 to 50. Gavan Infinity is only getting half the time to tell a story. So the fact that like the storytelling has been kind of odd, in the sense of it's here but it's also not here, is a strange decision choice. It's a strange choice. So we're just kind of left here, just kind of wondering, where is any of this going? Right? It's so far, looking back at it now in retrospective, a lot of the story beats, or 55 episodes for 17, that's true. But we're kind of left here now wondering where they're going with this. You only have you have like 25, 26 episodes to tell a story. And so far, the way it's been done has been kind of odd. It's very Gozuger reminiscent, but not as insulting. Shuto, how you doing, my friend? It's not as insulting as Gozuger is. Like, there's something there, but they're not inherently making it known. Cooking dogs, chicken, woo, chicken! So it's weird, right? I can't quite put it into words, but the show is kind of still implying there's a semblance of a story, but it's oddly not at the forefront. And why is that? I don't know. It's a strange thing they got going on there that I don't quite comprehend. That's not saying the show is bad. The show is actually quite enjoyable. But it still raises the question, where is any of this going? Because I feel like that's the big question that that looking at it as a new fan, right? Because if I'm looking at this through the eyes of someone who doesn't even have any semblance of what Gavan is, you're looking at this and like, where is all of this going? Because as a first-time fan, you want to make sure that you're engaging with people. Like, I don't really like comparing it to Zets, but you got to think about it like from that perspective. Zets is reaching a new audience. A lot of us are diehards that have been roll or die with Kamen Rider, even though they've not been publicly available to a U.S. audience since forever. So the question there is like, what do you do? What do you do to engage with new fans? You got to tell a story that is compelling. You got to tell a story that keeps people invested. You got to tell a story that keeps us invested. Right? And everything that they're doing right now with Gozuger, with Gavan, doesn't quite feel engaging, right? The show itself feels engaging on a weekly basis, but there's no art, there's no hook, right? What is that one thing that's going to keep you watching? Story. And this show, for lack of a better term, only has ideas, only has a semblance of a story. And that worries me as someone, who wants to see the Metal Heroes come back, who wants to see Space Sheriff thrive. There comes a point where playing it safe becomes too safe. You feel me? It feels like you're doing too much to be approachable to the point where it becomes contradictive to the message. Who remembers Changeman, that 55 episode, or Kaku Ranger with 53? Huh. Probably has to be a world record of some sort. But I digress. The point is that there's a point when playing it too safe becomes a problem. Right? When you play it too safe, thinking, "Oh, we pretty much already established our niche," that becomes misleading. Because clearly you haven't. Because now you're playing too safe when you've got people in that you're now kind of insulting them by still continuing to play it safe. Like, you've got us in the door, now hit us with the heavy hitting stuff, and yet you continue to play it safe. Especially with half the time that other Toku shows have. You're playing safe when you don't have enough time to play safe. You gotta play a story. You gotta get us in there. You got us in the door, tell us a story. The fact that they've been very wishy-washy with the story will turn off a lot of people. So my personal opinion is that, like, if you really want to make this something, you got to try to keep the people that you got in the door by playing it safe, by now stopping to play safe. And so far, they've kind of refused to do that. Gavan has been playing very much so too safe to the letter that now you might actually turn some people away. Which is not something you want when especially we're already nearing the halfway point of the story. We're here at episode 11. 12 and 13 is your halfway point. Things need to be moving along with the story. Yet, you're kind of like hitting the midway, and we got nothing. So my biggest concern is that unless they pull the trigger on a story soon, they're going to lose the entire people who came in out of curiosity. The entire fan base that came in for curiosity, you're going to lose them. It's generous to even call them a fan base. You're going to insult every casual watcher that came in wanting to know what this is about by not giving them something to keep them around. If you don't give them a semblance, more than a semblance, of what the story could be, if you're not going to give us something that'll truly engage us, people are going to just walk out the door. And that's a death nail to something that you guys want to see succeed. But you gave it less time to work with than other Toku. You gave it an anime season. You gave it the equivalent of a full anime season, because a full anime season is usually 25, 26 episodes. You gave a Tokusatsu show an anime season. So I don't know if you're trying to set this up to fail or what, but by the sound of it, it sounded like they had really high hopes of this show becoming something. That's not going to be the case. That's not going to be the case if you keep pussyfooting around. You need to get in there and you need to tell us a story. You need to tell us what is the thing that we need to keep watching for. What's the big conflict, right? There's been teases here and there, but you're ultimately not pulling the trigger. Toriga. So ultimately, you're pussyfooting around it. But you've only got half the time to tell a story. You can't afford to pussyfoot around. So the way I see it is, Galvan's kind of in a weird place where it's not committing. And I want to see Galvan commit. I want to see them commit. Tell us a goddamn story. But they've been kind of weirdly wishy-washy about it. So I'm hoping that once we get to the end of this episode, the preview for next one will show that they're actually going to give a fuck. You know what I mean? And I hope they really do give a fuck. Because, hell, you don't even have a time for a clip show right now. There's not enough time in this series to do a clip show. So you got to just get in with some storytelling here. Because at this point now, like, you've been very floaty with the lore. You got to get in there, or otherwise this is all just going to be for naught. And I want to see this show succeed. Because the fact that you killed off Super Sentai and tried to bring in something new, and it's failing, that's concerning. And ultimately, I want to see this show, I want to see Gavan thrive. Because I love Gavan. I love the 2014 reboot. And I'm actually currently in the process of watching the OG. So, like, I want to see this show thrive. But how can it thrive if you're not giving us something to latch onto? You know? But my hope is soon that the story is going to get serious. So, let's not waste any more time. Let's head over to our cinema. And let's go ahead and see what the show has in store for us today. All right. Here we are in our traditional Toku cinema. Here we are about to watch some greatness. Or, well, I say greatness. Well, I want to believe it's greatness. But we're going to watch what's been pretty solid. It's been a pretty solid show so far. But let's see where they're going in today's episode. This is Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity, Episode 11. Let's boot it up, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me. Sweet! I love that sound. Sweet!
我が地球に来る運命。
さて、お前を理解していこうか。
Gav-sudan.
取り調べと言ったらカツ丼は定番だよ。そっちの銀河連邦。
How did I know that?
まず君の名前を聞こうか。
Kazanami.
火花。風波流、壁抜け。
分析の結果、このエモルギアはキーグ、恐れの感情を秘めたエモルギーということが分かりました。
あの忍者は何かに深い恐れを抱いている。
He in fact is.
Kitare 1号地球。
なあ忍者、何か恐れてるもんがあんのか。
私に恐れなどなし。
Why you bullshitting?
捜査一課パトランより全署員へ。容疑者が取り調べ室より脱走した。発見次第確保せよ。
こちらカレル。九段の容疑者は私が確保している。安心せよ。
了解しました、カレル様。
なんじゃカレル様のところに。
そんなこと俺がちょっと何やってんのワニブチ君。
1号地球と言ったね。君の世界じゃ多元地球をそう呼んでるのか。
君のことを話してもらおう。なぜ次元を超えられるのだ。
Questioning, baby.
その答えは俺がこいつの地球に行けばわかる。おい、俺が行くのは運命なんだろ。
It is in fact his destiny.
乗っかってやるよ。
Lock in, baby. Here we go. Swoosh. You know what? I'm gonna say I do like Gavan's formatting. I really do. I'm gonna turn that down just a smidge.
多元地区ゼータ2066銀河連邦警察最大の敵銀河結社バイアクベはこの巨大要塞で宇宙を縦横に駆け巡っているバイアクベの総帥ルルギエは一代でこの組織を作り上げた
Their life, oh, non-binary possibly?
僕の耳に涼やかな物語を運んでおくれ
銀河連邦警察潜入中のグラフトより報告南倉庫外にガサ入れの動きあり時間は見て
God, why is it always the evil organizations are just pompous assholes?
市民軍との衝突長期化支援要請です
すべて承知また儲かってしまって僕は幸せだあー気分がいい気分がいいから君に会いに来たよ僕の初熱球お兄さんは頑張ってるよ
Oh.
君のためにね
ライアの妹初音共に風波流の生き残りである銀河連邦警察青函諜報部が風波流忍者を使ってバイアクベへの潜入工作を図った報復にルルギエは全忍者の命を奪い2人を捕らえた
また来たんだ暇人
妹は忍法開発のために兄は組織のスパイとして利用しているのだ
いい顔
Damn
変態あり時に僕のアーマー仕上がりを一日選手の思いで待っているんだけど
あと少し急がせると壊れる
早くしないと君のお兄さんがつらい目に遭うよいいの
God, what a bitch
この運命俺の仲間も一緒だ役に立つぞ好きにしろ
ヒーグチャージ
上着
ヒーグアクティベート
ついてこい風波流次元渡りおいついてこいっても一号付き特攻だよ
ギャバンライアを追尾ゼータ2066と確認
初めて行く次元だなドルネードユニット持っていけ
コスモキャバリオンテイクオフ
Oh, the new dragon unit
ドルネードユニットドッキング
ポトラ様あれを
カレル様が一枚噛んでいるとしか思えんな
やっぱりカレル様が一枚噛んでるんですね
おワニブス君今噛んだね
カレル様が
カレル様は噛んでない
コスモギャバリを発信
He bit his tongue
次元を超えてゼータ地球にやってきた資料家
I'm just waiting for the two bumbling idiots to figure out what Archival's thing is
次元渡りってあれも忍法か私だけの秘伝君こそ何者だそのエモルギーいやーよくわかんねえんだよなどうも銀河の奥のそのまた奥にある邪悪なものが起源らしいんだよ恐れないのか銀河の邪悪
Hmm Is he?
おっかねえよ
あ
でもそれも俺だ認めるんだよ
Why do they always have to have these moments?
何でも認めりゃ力に変わる前に進めるってもんださてとおーい出てこいよ全然隠せてねえんだよさっきが
区内その男が次元超越者か
そうだ連れてきたここに
ようこそ銀河結社バイアクベ
こちら
63号地球から来た銀河連邦警察青函諜報部に捜査協力を要請します。
I'm wondering what the story is behind that cut.
僕はバイアクベの総帥ルルギエ。ここは僕の素敵すぎる城、カラクリ屋敷さ。
へえ、あんたも忍者か。
僕はそんな裏方じゃないよ。次元超越者を待ってた夢見る者、船乗りが風を待つようにね。
これが待ってたやつにすることか。
信頼関係を結べば外すよ。区内のようにね。
俺が必要な理由は？
商売のためさ。君や区内は特別な力を持ってる。君たちを使って僕は全ての次元にネガエモルギアを売りまくって全次元一の大富豪になるんだよ。
Personal gain. I hate it.
わかりやすい俗物だな。果たせ約束。次元超越者と引き換えに妹の解放。妹。
解放はまだダメだ。
破るのか約束。私はボスのしもべとして使い続ける。妹だけでも自由を。
僕は一人連れてきたら終わりとは言ってないよ。次元超越者は僕が知る限りこれで3人になったしね。
3? Uh-oh.
宇宙は無限。探せばもっといるはずだ。君と妹は僕のために人生を捧げる運命。
Ooh, indentured servitude.
なんだその目は。僕に逆らえば妹が辛い目に遭う。
Good old strong arming.
おい忍者、お前の怒りと恐れ俺が預かる。
風波流カラクリ屋敷。
And we're gone.
面白いからくりだろ。君の妹の仕事さ。君たちは結局僕に従う。僕の兵隊のようにね。
Oh, that is... Did you really need to do that? They were already loyal. You didn't need to do that. Oh.
Kunai, そいつを捕まえろ。
Like, this is like the weird thing. Like, you already have loyal subjects. Why would you just subject them to that even more? Like, is that like a thing, or like if they're loyal, then like giving them those powers make them more interesting?
君を連れてきたのは妹の身代わり。ルルギエの生贄。俺も最初からお前を利用した。奴に近づくためにな。自分の心の中にある恐れを認めるんだ。でなきゃ何も変わらねえし始まらねえ。認めれば力に変わる。そう言っていたな。野蛮が2人いればできないことは何もねえ。認めよう、この恐れを。
Oh! Damn, that's a crazy suit.
それは僕に逆らうということかな。
宇宙刑事ギャバン・ライアー、恐れを。
He who changes fear into strength.
乗着。それはギャバンシステム発動のコマンドだ。では乗着プロセスをもう一度見てみよう。乗着コマンドを受けて臨界点を超えたエモルギートリガー内に凝縮されたギャバリオン粒子と融合。
乗着。
わずか1ミリ秒でコンバットスーツへと投射成形され。
I still love that they explain it. I still love that shit. That's just such a nostalgia thing. I don't know why I like it so much, but I do. Yukaida. When is he gonna use Yukaida? That's what I want to know. When is he gonna use Yukaida? I'm assuming that's his mid. That's gonna be his power, his big power up, Yukaida.
すげえ鎧持ってんだ。もう一人の次元超越者からの贈り物さ。クナイの妹によってさらに強化され、量産して売薬部の主力商品にする。こいつは売れる。
Can the suit dimension hop?
レイジ、アギちゃんがライアの妹のおおよその位置を感知した。
妹を頼む、インフィニティ。私は奴に人たち。
君にはできないよ。
大佐、俺たちも行くぞ。
Get the dragon! See, now this is traditional Gavan with the dragon mech.
ただの犯罪組織じゃないな。まるで軍隊だ。行
くぞ、トルネードユニット。
Actually, I think, if I think about it, I think Gavan's original mech is also called Tornado. I could be wrong, though, on that. I could be wrong. That suit is so bulky, though. Call time!
アヒ流高機動フォーム。
あれ、こんな機能あったっけ？
忍者さんをヒントにやばい改造しちゃいました。よ
し、突入する。
Could it always do that? Ah, god dang inserts, man. I love insert music, but the fact that I have to mute it for copyright purposes is just annoying. But I really like talking about these shows, so I'm willing to shoulder that pain. But like, man, it sucks that I can't listen to the themes. Like, it's so fucking eh. I will say though, they really are putting a lot of money into this, because like the CGI is like super good. Oh, fire trap. So wait, what's the dragon? What's Agi-chan doing? I don't understand. Like, what's her dealio? Is she like supposed like? I feel like she's infiltrating. Yeah, it's playing the theme. There we go. The Spectron KI. That one I can remember. Respectron.
了解
No consent. Just hey, we're gonna suck you up right quick. Fuck you.
妹ちゃん連れてきました高いの何？
よっここは犯罪の温床だ破壊しようおう全部ぶっ壊
Let him destroy everything. That is, I love this. See this again. This is why I keep calling it a feel-good Toku, man, because they just engineer everything so nicely. That like the lore is not even that conspicuous by its absence. Another insert? Really? Hatsune.
お前のおかげでスパイを確保できた
I mean, she did say that. Armor to judgment. Oh, I love it. I'm sorry, your freaking government was just toppled in an instant. Fuck you.
事案終了だな
全て暴いてやる貴様の罪
全ての次元には僕みたいに銀河の深きところに住まう偉大なるお方に共鳴した奴が大勢いる
There's your lore!
本当の敵は永遠の宇宙の真理さ
宇宙の真理だ
See, there's where the lore just pops in, man!
よっ兄者
よくぞ大使飲んでくれた妹よ
近いし近いし
なぜだ
兄者近い見られてるから初で兄者近い見られて恥ずかしい
Like, see, this is the weird thing about the lore of Gavan. It just keeps coming in and out, right? Like, it's not a fucking, how do I put this? It's not a steady stream of lore. It just shows up. Now, I don't want to say it shows up when it's convenient, but it's just like, it's just weird how it just shows up, and then you don't think about it again, right? That's why I feel like this show is more ingenious than what it lets on, right? Like, I feel like it's engineered in a way where, like, the lore is meant to come in and kind of, like, not be at the forefront, but it shows up in, like, the most unexpected ways. It's there. The lore is there, but it's not... It shows up when you least expect it.
会ってみたくなったぞ他のギャバンたちおそろそろ名前教えてくれよもう仲間だろ区内風波流後継者風波区内よろしくな区内俺は土岐レイジだ
インフィニティ 採血するから腕出して。
なんで？
だってあなたの力謎すぎる。分析して忍法に使うから。
待って、ちょっと待って。
どうしたんだ？
レイジ君は注射が嫌いなんです。あんた意外に
ちょっと助けてくれ。諦めろ。インフィニティ。
Just give up.
チクッとしますよ。
That needle is too fucking big, my guy. What the fuck? Of course he'd be afraid of it.
涙に焦がれし者たちの集い。
待ち受けるは聞くも語るも涙の物語。
悲しみの雨が頬を濡らすとき、銀と紫のギャバンが出会う。
Oh, dang!
超宇宙刑事ギャバンインフィニティ。武士と忍者。それ
Samurai and ninja. Hell yeah. That's amazing. That is great. I love it. I love it. So, the whole thing there is just like, Gavan has this weird way of not being horrible, right? Like, it does this thing where it kind of just surprises you, right? Like, I'm trying to piece this together. Like, here's the thing. The lore has not really been at the forefront. It's been there, but it's not been the grabbing point, right? The lore just shows up. And not like when it's convenient. It just shows up when you least expect it, right? Like, granted, there were a couple of callbacks to Gavan, the Black Gavan, throughout this episode. But then, that right moment with that woman right there at the, or I don't know, it didn't really imply that that they were non-binary, but the show did it refer to her in a them in a they sense. So I don't know if we're supposed to imply that it was non-binary or whatnot. But when they come out with that line, as soon as they get the cuffs on them, and they immediately say that line about the eternal truth of the universe, that's when you realize, whoa, random callback, but like done at the right time. Like it was like foreshadowing in a way. Like there was some amazing foreshadowing done because Black Gavan kept getting called back to only in a visual sense, and then you hit us with that line, which is an exact mirror of what Black Gavan has been saying. Like, at that point, it punches you. He hits you right there in the freaking gut. That, like, that was the prelude to something. That foreshadowing just came out of nowhere. Like, they were foreshadowing this whole time, only for the payoff to come in at the end and, like, hit you, like, super hard. That's what I was getting at, that this show is more clever than what it lets on. This show is like, and I've said this before, but now it means more than ever. This show rewards you for sticking around. This show rewards you for sticking around by just hitting you with those moments. Like in the moment, like, well, okay, let me try to phrase that better. It hits you with those moments that you don't really think about until the punchline, until that one trigger phrase that like just makes it all make sense. Like ultimately, we didn't think much of him. We thought this was just of Reiji just having callbacks to Black Gavan, just having weird vibes about him, like just remembering him out of the blue because it just felt kind of odd. Like the prelude with the fact that they mentioned that there were 3 dimensional hoppers meant that she knew him, or they knew him. But the question remains there at that point. That just felt kind of off, right? Right? Okay, clearly there was a callback to Black Gavan regarding that. But then it turns out the callback is something bigger. Because this person, right, that ultimately says that line, not only is stating that she knows Black Gavan, but buys into the same philosophy. Which means it's not just that this person knew Black Gavan, but more like was working in the same vein as Black Gavan. It wasn't just that. It's not like, oh, it was like he was driven to this person because they have a strong emotional response and Black Gavan is doing the will of the world, the will of the emotion. No, this person also knows the eternal truth of the universe, that beast at the center of everything. Which means that, like, that particular line was more impactful than just everything that's happened up to this point. This leads me to believe that there's more to this than the show is letting on. The reason why the lore has been so vague up until this point is because they're planting seeds. Which, the way it's being done, in the way that it's being done, and the fact of the timing, the fact that there's not that very many episodes, leads me to believe that Gavan Infinity is a pilot of sorts. This wasn't really meant for us to be like... This wasn't really meant for us to be like, oh, this is going to be like a huge deal. This feels like a setup to something. That Gavan Infinity is the prelude to something bigger. What that specifically is, I don't know. There's rumors going around that the next generation of Gavan has, or the next installment of Project Red has, or is already like in production. I don't know if there's any truth to that. Again, I'm not the guy that follows the news or leaks. I'm the guy who literally watches this show with y'all, because at the end of the day, I'm just a fan. I'm not doing the heavy digging in the news. I'm not doing any of that. I'm a fan just like those of you who watch this. I'm a fan just like you. I'm giving insight from a fan perspective, not from a diehard like Toku news guy. Like, that's not me. I'm just a viewer like all of y'all. So I'm not keeping my eyes to the I'm not keeping my ears to the grindstone, as it is. I think that's how the phrase goes. I'm not in the trenches. That's not me. I'm an enjoyer enjoying alongside fellow enjoyers. That's what it is with me. I'm not deep in the trenches. But at least from the weird inklings that I have seen, because, sometimes these things will come up on your timeline, and you don't really think much of it. Apparently, the next Project Red project, for the lack of a better term, the next installment of Project Red is already in production. Have I seen any scans or anything like that? No, I haven't. But apparently, if we're looking at Gavan Infinity as a prelude to something, the fact that it's very much on the lower end of, not lower end, the fact that it has half the episodes of a traditional Toku means that this is a setup for something. I don't know if this means that we're going to be getting like an overall arc, possibly, or even an overarching, the next installment is going to be an overarching story, and Gavan is just the starting point, which means that Gavan Infinity, Bushido, Luminous, all of them would be recurring characters in the next project if this is just a prelude. Which, I'd love to believe that this is just a precursor. That Gavan Infinity, the 26 episodes or 25 episodes or whatever of Gavan Infinity is a prelude to something bigger. That's what I want to believe. Because when you look at all the decisions that have been made in regards to the show and how we've been seeing this show so far, this definitely feels like something bigger is coming. This definitely feels like this is just like small time compared to what could be coming next. The fact that now you're hitting us with lore, the fact that you hit us with a surprise right hook with lore, or more like you turned back and hit us with lore implications, is kind of a big deal. You are now witnessing. This is the fact that you waited till halfway through the run to now start hearkening back. Because now it's coming down to, now we know what the hook is. The eternal truth of the universe. What is the eternal truth of the universe? What is it? We know it's a being in the center of it all. But this being has clearly influenced people, whether it be just by witnessing it, or possibly that it's spreading its own truth. What does it all mean? What does it all mean in the grand scheme? What is that eternal truth? Now there's been like reference to it on multiple occasions. That's the big question, and that's the hook. That's the hook that's going to keep us invested in this show. What is the eternal truth of the universe? I can say from my perspective, y'all got me in here. I need to know, what is the eternal truth of the universe? What is it? What is that mysterious being at the center of it all? What is the eternal truth of the universe? Because if we're looking at it just from from the Akbi's perspective, and by Black Gavan's perspective, that eternal truth is evil. It could be that, like, there are more people like them throughout the multiverse. And that is the eternal truth. That could be their interpretation of it. But what truly is the eternal truth of the universe? It's clearly something that is bigger than all of us and has severe repercussions and clearly starts an all-out war. Because if you remember the first scene of Gavan, it was literally 5 Gavans facing an unknown, facing an unknown militia with a mysterious black hole behind it all. There is an eternal truth. That portal, that mysterious being has to be the eternal truth. Because if not, what is the ultimate truth? What is the ultimate truth of the universe? The eternal truth of the universe. What is it? And to me, it feels like that eternal truth can be interpreted multitude of ways, but the prevailing interpretation leads people to evil. You know? Like, if we're getting philosophical for a bit, these people can quite possibly be misinterpreting what the eternal truth of the universe is all about. It's not even that they were gaslit into it. They may have taken away the wrong interpretations. Right? Because I feel like the eternal truth of the universe interprets differently for different people. Right? Like, what is truth to one person is not the same truth to another person. It's kind of like that whole idea of, if you get superpowers, you can either save the world or fix it. And normally those who are on the side of fixing the universe tend to kind of fall into evil. Like that whole meme, like, you're in, like, at that point when you decide this world needs to be fixed, not saved, that all of a sudden you're the bad guy now. Like, it's kind of like that. These people, even though, like, we can assume that Act B was clearly a douche because they just wanted to make money. But when you look at that, and then you look at Black Gavan, who seems to be acting because he thinks it's the right thing to do. At that point, I feel like a misrepresentation, that's their interpretation of the eternal truth of the universe. Every person has their own interpretation of everything, right? It's kind of like how imposter syndrome works. Like, like they're like, whenever someone meets you, they're only meeting a version of you and not the actual you. And unfortunately, people will have their own interpretations of you, but they'll never truly know who the real you is. That's what I kind of think is going on with the eternal truth of the universe. Everyone has their own interpretation of the eternal truth of the universe, but no one truly knows what the eternal truth of the universe is. That's what I think is happening here. Black Gavan and Akbi had their own interpretations of what the eternal truth of the universe is. And if we're siding with Gavan on this, the Gavan Infinity on this, clearly their eternal truth of the universe, their interpretation of it is wrong. Because it's leading them down the path of evil. So at that point, what is truly the eternal truth of the universe? Because if someone's going to see it for what it is, it's probably going to be Gavan Infinity. Once he sees it. Right? Because obviously main character, he's not going to fall through the same trap as the other people. Right? He's going to know exactly what it means, or at least interpret it in a way that helps him rise to the occasion. But truly, what is the eternal truth of the universe? That is the hook that this show has planted in our minds. And that's the reason why we're going to keep watching. Because right now, you've already got two people waxing poetic about the eternal truth of the universe. We need to know what it is. What is the eternal truth of the universe? And not even speaking from a philosophical question. I mean, like in the show, what is the eternal truth of the universe? That's a question we need answered. And for that, we're sticking around. There is Gavan Infinity's hook. The question is, what do they do with it? You've got us in. Now we're locked in. Where do you go from there? That's the big one. Where does the show go from there? I leave that up to Toei to figure out and for us to find out next week. So on that note, folks, that's going to do it for the Space Sheriff Gav-sudan for this April 26th, 2026. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys, came out here with a little bit of a thought-provoking. If you have your own theories of what the eternal truth of the universe is, I'd love to see them in the comments on this. So if you, by all means, I'd love to see what you guys think the eternal truth of the universe is. So I'd love to see them in the replies. I'd love to see them in the comments. By all means, please tell me what you guys think the eternal truth of the universe is. Or your theories of where you think the show is going to be going. I'd love to hear them. So let me know in the replies. I always look at the replies, so don't worry, they will be seen. So please tell me what y'all think is going to go on. I always check the comments. So by all means, let a homie know. Let a brother know. Because I want to hear what you guys think. Because that's what this show is. It's a discussion. And I want to hear what you guys think. Until then, we have until next week to see what is in store for us. So I want to thank y'all so much for coming out for another episode of the Space Sheriff Gav-sudan. I will see you next weekend for more Tokusatsu goodness. So I hope you will all tune in next time. Twitch, chill because we're going to be raiding into Mike Burnfire. On YouTube, don't even worry about it, but on both platforms, I just want to say thank you all so much for tuning in and supporting. It means a lot to me. I hope to see you all next time on another episode of the Space Sheriff Gav-sudan for the Kamen Rider Zatsudan and maybe for the Armas. Maybe for the Armas in the early Saturday mornings. But until then, I am Call Sign Henshin, your host with the most, the mercenary with the kicks, coming to you from 2286. reminding you that the future is in your hands and your hands alone. Only you can conquer it. So conquer it by any means necessary. I will see you all next week. I love y'all. Take it easy. And I will see you all next time. Peace out.